Spring returned to Peach-Ford as if the valley had not witnessed sacrifice. That was the cruelty of beautiful places. Trees bloomed on time, rivers thawed, birds stitched morning songs through branches that had once held screams. Pink petals drifted over the tower roof, over the path, over the old stone altar now cracked and covered in moss. The world healed with an ease people rarely managed. Lyra learned the seasons of Seth's new life. On clear days, he liked the balcony because he could feel sun across his palms. On rainy days, he asked her to describe the clouds, then corrected her descriptions by scent, smiling when she pretended annoyance. He remembered nothing of the council, the lake, the poison, the altar, or the forbidden bite. But sometimes his hand moved before thought, reaching to shield her when a servant dropped a tray or thunder startled the windows. Instinct remained where memory had burned away.
Did I always worry so much?
You made an art of it. On the first full bloom day, Lyra brought a wheeled chair to the garden path. Seth protested, politely and uselessly, that he could walk with a cane. Lyra ignored him with queenly calm, tucked a blanket around his knees, and placed one fresh peach blossom in his hand.
You are very commanding for a former ward.
I learned from a tyrant. She pushed him beneath the trees. Petals fell around them, brushing his white hair and her dark sleeves. The air smelled of rain-washed bark, new grass, and the faint sweetness that had once driven alpha blood mad. Lyra no longer smelled like a dying omen. Her wolf moved under her skin in quiet, luminous strength. The mark at her neck had faded to a pale crescent, almost delicate, almost innocent.
You are quiet.
I was remembering the first time I saw this place.
Was I there?
Lyra looked at the cracked altar beneath the moss. She saw snow rising instead of falling, red thread around childish wrists, a silver knife, a black cloak descending like midnight. A man with molten gold eyes lifting her from death and calling it protection before either of them knew protection could become a curse. Yes, you were there.
Did I save you?
More than once.
And I hurt you?
Petals tapped softly against the blanket. Somewhere beyond the grove, temple bells rang for noon, thin and distant. Lyra could have lied. She had lied with a queen's composure through councils, treaties, and the endless little conversations that kept Seth peaceful. But the garden was too honest for another beautiful falsehood. Yes, but never because you did not love me.
I'm sorry.
I know. A breeze moved through the tree above them. Petals loosened in a soft pink rain. One landed on Lyra's hair. Before she could brush it away, Seth lifted his hand. Blind, careful, guided by nothing but the old map of instinct, he found the blossom and removed it from her hair with the same grave tenderness he had once used to wrap his cloak around a shivering child.
There. You had a flower caught in your hair.
Lyra could not move. The gesture was too small to be a miracle and too exact to be nothing. For one impossible second, she saw him as he had been, black-haired, gold-eyed, unbearable, beloved. Then the image passed, leaving a blind man holding a crushed petal between scarred fingers and smiling because he had helped her in the only way he knew. Thank you, Master.
You make that word sound sad.
It has carried too many meanings. They continued under the trees until the path curved toward the river. The Queen of Peach-Ford pushed the chair of the man who had once ruled storms. The valley bowed around them in petals and light. She had won the lifespan denied to her at birth. She had won the throne denied to her blood. She had won a future large enough to hold nations, and long enough to outlive every enemy who had called her defective. But the one thing she wanted most remained beside her like a dream with its center missing. Seth was alive. Seth was safe. Seth was hers to protect. If protection could be called possession when memory refused to bless it. He would never again push her away with cruel words. He would never again look at her with molten gold hunger and terror. He would never remember the kiss beneath ice, the rain road, the bite, the blood, or the way his own voice had broken when he begged her not to die.
Peach blossoms were never a blessing, were they? They were always a calamity, wearing perfume.
Seth turned his face toward her voice, not understanding the grief, only trusting the woman who carried it. Another petal fell between them. Lyra pushed him onward through the blooming grove, smiling because he could hear smiles in breath, crying because he could not see tears in sunlight. Behind them, the old altar disappeared beneath flowers. Ahead of them, the river at Peach Ford ran bright and cold, carrying every vow, every wound, and every unfinished love toward a horizon neither of them could name.